Well, I'm joined by my pack tonight, Talk TV contributor Esther Cracker and the Daily Mirror's associate editor Kevin Maguire. I want to start with AI. I want to play a clip from an interview I did with Professor Stephen Hawking. This was the last television interview he gave, it turned out. I asked him, how would the world end? What was the biggest threat? Here's what he said. Is artificial intelligence going to be the end of us? And if it's not, how do we best work with it?
Ever since the start of the Industrial Revolution, there have been fears of mass unemployment as machines replaced humans. Instead, the demand for goods and services has risen in line with the increased capabilities. Whether this can continue indefinitely is an open question, but there is a greater danger from artificial intelligence if we allow it to become self-designing, for then it can improve itself rapidly, and we may lose control.
Well, very prescient, because today, 1,000 eminent people, including Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Steve Wozniak, of course, the Apple genius with Steve Jobs, other tech leaders call for a pause, a 6-month pause in the out-of-control artificial intelligence race, warning it's a profound risk to society and humanity. Kevin, this is serious stuff. These guys know what they're talking about, and they can see the rapid rate of progress with AI could lead to exactly where Professor Hawking was warning.
Yeah, and with any technology, it is who controls and benefits from it. And if you want a few corporations to be taking over your life, well, that's going to happen. And that's why I see the argument for the pause with Elon Musk. I say, hang on, you've been resisting regulation and not giving up details of, for instance, Tesla systems. So he's resisted regulation in the past, but he wants it here. But I do think it's right, because otherwise it's going to have a huge impact on us all, and it's going to be a few big corporations in control.
I mean, I've got to say, Esther, on one level, people have been worried about AI in relation to human jobs, and that's a completely understandable thing, where technology takes over human manpower. This is a bit more serious. What they're getting at is what Professor Hawking was warning me about that time, which is actually it could just take us over.
Yeah, they become so sophisticated that they effectively just become too sophisticated to control. I think this is a little bit too late for this, and I think that the incentive to actually push for AI is the commercial incentive is too strong to actually stop it now. I mean, it's quite rich that it's coming from someone like Elon Musk and all of these people who have basically pushed for this.
Yeah, but on the other hand, who else is better equipped to warn us than people like Elon Musk, who get under the bonnet of these things and know how dangerous it is?
Yeah, I suppose they're concerned about a rival, aren't they? Or they're concerned about rivals. But I think we should be concerned. Now, we can question their motives, but I think we should be concerned about who controls and who benefits.
Absolutely. And, you don't want to stop human ingenuity, but when they're genuine threats to humanity, I think that's where you have to draw the line.
We're talking about a genuine threat to humanity. The Guardian newspaper, which is a genuine threat to humanity, they've had to issue this extraordinary front-page, grovelling lead story apology. I mean, quite extraordinary, apologising for the fact their founder was up to his neck in racism and slavery. The UN responded and said that they wanted the UK government and the royal family now to start grovelling as well. Esther, I don't really get all this. Well, are we really saying now that in the modern day we have to spend our entire time atoning for the sins of generations and generations ago?
I mean, the only people concerned with this are the ones that can never atone enough. I'm just hoping that I get a cut of the lovely check that The Guardian is going to cut black people for their involvement in slavery. Because I never seem to benefit from it. Me and my friends never get money from it, which is very weird. But at the end of the day, you can never atone enough for something like this. The reality is no slavers or slaves are alive today to properly pay reparations to. And it's just kind of a self-defeating argument. But they just keep going on about it.
Kevin, it is quite funny watching The Guardian self-flagellate like this. But there is a wider point. In San Francisco, they're talking about giving $5 million to every black person who lives in San Francisco as reparations for slavery. I don't understand how this could do anything other than create new problems.
Yeah, but I don't think we should be afraid of discussing it and
discuss it
and probing into.
But why want all the apologies? What do they do?
Any institution like the royal family or company that dates back to the 19th century, The Guardian, will have profited from exploitation, and it won't just be slaves. It will be people. It'll be people in the country.
We're all going to have. You're going to have relatives, and I'm going to have relatives, and you'll probably got relatives, right? Yeah. Everyone's going to have relatives who, at some point, will have employed slaves, right? And then there'll be the question about.
I doubt I have. I think I was on the poor. I don't really get a tiny violin when I was on the poor side of the track. I think we were just.
Yeah, but you don't know, do you?
No. Well. if it's found out, I'll say, oof, they weren't very
you
nice
owe
and
me
they were
50
bad.
you owe
But
me
can-
50 quid.
No, but you can.
You do. You owe me money.
I'll make sure you get some dosh. But you can see an institution like The Guardian, right, which takes principled stands, I think has to face up to its history. And because the Scott Trust has a lot of cash, it can begin to make some amends.
I'd like to
we
see
should
the Guardian.
applaud it rather than
I'd
not.
like to see the Guardian then handing out a lot of money to people like Esther.
I need to see my bank account very juicy by Monday morning. Or there will be words.
I would love to have been in the Guardian newsroom because they're so sanctimonious. They're all a bunch of woke virtue signalers. And by the way, most of them are stinking rich, right? They've all got about 8 properties and millions of. I would love to have been there when they were told your whole front page tomorrow is a grovelling apology because your founder was a racist slave owner.
In the American Civil War, the Guardian backed the South, the Confederacy, the slave owners. So it shouldn't be a great surprise to those like the Guardian now.
Guys, got to leave it. Thank you both very much indeed.